session or in the question area, if it's the first time you're using GoToMeeting, there should be a questions area where you can type in your questions, and we will get to it towards the end of the presentation. That said, before the actual presentation, just a quick note on a time-limited offer that TriStar is running. It's a promotion that we are running through the end of the March. It's essentially on the GD&T Advisor extension, 25% off on this extension. If you want to know more information about this time-limited offer, please reach out to your account reps at TriStar. So with that said, Lee, it's over to you. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Welcome everyone. Again, my name is Lee Goodwin. I'm out of Colorado, and let's talk model-based definition and geometric dimension intolerancing. So I'm going to start with some of the challenges that you guys have all run into trying to get into this MBD world here. You know, everybody knows 2D prints, and you know that they're a lot of work. They're difficult, and they quite often can be a mess. If you've got complex stuff, trying to show that to the customer, whether the customer is your real customer, whether it's the guy on the shop floor, whoever your consumer is, 2D can be a mess, but it's what we've had, and we're all used to it. So we tried this big new 3D world. Said, well, let's just put it all inside the 3D model, and that has worked well. However, there's been lots of challenges. You know, this is something we've had going back to Wildfire 3 and 4 when we started doing this, and found that some of the things, well, you can make a mess here too. There's lots of details to make this work. You can't, it's not just dimensions. It's all the GD&T information, it's callouts, it's notes. It's kind of like, well, turns out there was a lot of stuff on those drawings, and how do we do that in the 3D? And then you have all these standards that are controlling this, which are a great idea. Everybody likes the standards because now we know what to do, but there are new standards and there's evolving standards. These are, you know, very active, especially the 3D world here is really, really active. So they put out new versions, new releases, new comments, and keeping up with all that is quite a bit of work. Now, GD&T itself, of course, is the, you know, the key piece of model-based definition to be able to define it all, and it's quite a tool. It's really a good tool for describing that engineering intent of your parts and assemblies, but it's complex. There's lots of symbols. It's kind of like, to make it all happen, there's a lot to it, and it needs to be correct and it needs to be complete, or you really haven't done your job. It's just like leaving off a view in the drawing. If you leave off notes and so forth, or if the notes are not logically connected, that can be a problem. All right, so those are the challenges we've run into. So PTC's really been working on this. And so today's presentation, I want to talk about Creo Parametric 4.0 that came out a couple of weeks ago, and it's got some really nice tools for it. And I'll talk about what's in Parametric itself, and then we'll also talk about a new extension, GD&T Advisor, that can really help you get into this. Right? So I'm going to cover both of those topics. Let's start with just within Creo 4.0. We've done a lot of enhancements to the geometric tolerance, you know, capabilities. How does it work? What can you do? What formats can you show? What techniques? So things like, we have this huge symbol library now, and any of those are available. Put them wherever you want in the text. You just pick on it. You pick one that's invalid, then you're going to get a message saying, hey, did you really want to do that? So now you've got some error checking going on there. And again, it's still, you need to know GD&T and so forth to be able to do this properly, but it never hurts to have some help. If you just mistype something, grab a wrong symbol, that's kind of nice. We completely redid the target area, datum target enhancements for different shapes, different leaders, different sizes. Do you want the call out, the size of the target inside? Do you want it outside? Different formats, again, with the arrow styles and so forth. Trying to really keep up with those standards, again, that are evolving so quickly. And that kind of gets into the complete. If you can't do this particular standard, you're kind of, well, do I draw a bunch of lines to make it work? Or so we're really trying to help you out there. So enhancements there. GTAL itself is much, much easier to use. You simply drag it down, and then anytime you are in it, or if you pick on a GTAL, you get a dashboard that shows all of these different options. You know, the composite frame, indicators, modifiers, all these different things. They're just right there. Again, with some error checking that you can do, lots of it just makes it easier to work with. And so I'm going to show you all this. We'll do all this with a short demonstration of each of them. So we've improved our annotation enhancements, even to the point like if you call out a reference on a particular hole and then delete the hole, that's going to come up in the notification center to say, hey, you have an invalid datum reference. So really getting beyond just circles and arcs and lines and so forth, putting some intelligence in that model. We also have improved for 4.0 the combination state. We have this idea of an appearance state. So those can now be stored with your various configurations. So different states, again, be easier to show it one way or the other, fine. Go ahead and put that in and let the system remember that. All of this is really, you know, make it easier for that downstream user to be able to understand, what is that pointing to? What's the surface? Ah, that's the critical piece. Great. That's what you really want. We've got this whole new library, lots of new fonts, lots of new symbols, all of them predefined. They're going to go in the right size based on your standards and so forth. So just pick the one you want, put it wherever you want in the text, and make it fast and easy. So a lot of times you had to do your own little text and hope the part doesn't change size because now it's in the wrong place. A lot of that goes away with Creo 4.0. So good stuff there. And very much support for those ASME and ISO standards. So Y1441 2012, we've got the new ISO 1101, trying to keep up. You know, it's a never-ending battle, but we're going to keep fighting that battle. They put out new stuff. We're going to make sure Creo can handle it and do it right, do it the way you want. Also, from the output, you know, when you're done with it, people got to use it. You need to be able to spit it out. So we now have AP 242 step format to be able to spit this out and contain all of this PMI information. You could spit it out, as always, into Creo View. Creo View remembers all of these annotation states. And you can also print the combined states. So kind of a one button, print out each of these views that I need to show to understand this part. So a lot of nice improvements there in 4.0. Now let's talk about the new extensions. So let's say you do GD&T all the time and you've had a little trouble with it, or you got a new guy. Well, we have a new module. It's an add-on to Creo. It's called GD&T Advisor. And as we mentioned, TriStar's got a TLO on it, but I'm going to show you what it looks like. It's something really to guide the use, kind of walk you through the process of, okay, I need to set up a datum, and you pick a plane, and then it's going to make suggestions. Well, you probably want to put either a profile or a flatness call out on that, and you don't want to do the angularity or perpendicularity. You know, none of these things would not be valid at this point. So it's kind of like somebody over your shoulder say, okay, we probably want to do that next, probably want to do that, and let it walk you through it. And then always give you guidance of what's missing, you know, what surfaces are not constrained at this point. That's good information. So GD&T Advisor helps you with that. It helps educate you. There's this advisor tree where you can basically, you see some warnings, you can do a right mouse, it takes you to the help, say, hey, this is not quite done here, and here's what it means, and so forth. And this is one of those, we're going to be building out this help function even more, but really help you get going. It's very much ASME and ISO standard. So basically, everything it tells you to do should be entirely in keeping with the standard that you're working on. And obviously, you can choose which one. So really helps you walk through, you know, get your control frames done correctly in the right manner. It's entirely a Creo extension. It's just simply applications, GD&T Advisor, just like any of the others, just like Simulate or Mold and so forth. So you stay in Creo, all the things you build, they're Creo annotations. Once you've built them there, you have a separate model tree specifically for the GD&T. with this advisor. And it kind of lists everything out, lists the numbers. You can click on any of these things and change them, modify them right there. It's really nice there. And you can also reuse. So if you have older models that have annotations, this is Wildfire 5 here, you can actually take those in and reuse them, or you can start clean. When you start GD&T Advisor with an older part, it's going to say, hey, you got a bunch of old ones here. Do you want to wipe those out, or are we going to take care of them later? So really nicely built in, makes it easy to work with. All right, so a lot of value there. The whole idea of MBD and detailing and GD&T, it's all about reducing the scrap because you didn't properly define how you wanted this thing to do. How is it going to work? What's the tolerances involved with it? You're going to improve your productivity if the whole thing's easier. It's a much more complete environment where I create it, I put it out, I always control it in one spot. So really should improve your design productivity. And then, of course, educated designers, you get better designs. The more you know about what you're doing here with GD&T, and if GD&T Advisor can help you, you're going to make better parts, which is really what we're getting, is shooting for better quality. I want all these things to be described. Then I know how this thing's going to be manufactured. At least I have specified specifically what we're looking for. All right, so let's go take a look at it. So here is Creo 4.0. If you haven't seen it, it's pretty nice. You got a bunch of new changes. Nothing drastic, but enough to get you going here. So let's go ahead and look at it. This is a robot gripper part here that I'm going to start in annotate. So again, let's just work standard MBD annotation within Creo. I'm going to go to one of my combined states, and maybe let's start with a tolerance here on the bottom. So all I have to do is pick geometric tolerance, pick a surface, boom, got it right there. Now you'll see this new dashboard. I want to flatness, I want to set the value, and so forth. It's just that easy. Anytime I pick on it, I can change it. And then if I need a datum feature, just drag it down, put it, in this case, on that particular surface call out. I can associate the surface to that datum. So if I'm sending it to a CMM, I can do that. Notice all the changes I can make to the GTOL itself. Again, different formats people are required depending on which style you're following and so forth, but now those are just picks. Choose how you want it to look. Makes it really nice and easy. All right, so let's go to another state here, and this time let's do maybe a show and annotation. I want to do this center bore, and there's that dimension, so I'll say, okay, keep that guy. Drag it up here. So now I'm going to go to the tolerance value. I need to say plus minus, change the values, +3, -1, whatever you want to have. And again, anytime I highlight that, it gives me that dashboard. Same thing with the GTOL. Let's just click on that dimension. In this case, I need perpendicularity. Let's put a value 3. Want to put in my datum frame, I need to reference datum A, so I just simply pick that. Now maybe I need these symbols, so I mentioned, there's lots of symbols that go into GTOL. So in this case, yeah, I need a diameter symbol before that. Well, all I have to do is click there, go to my symbol list, boom. Say I want to, maybe after it, I need to put a material condition. There's my M with the circle in it. No more pretending and so forth. And notice here, let's put another one in there. It's like, uh-oh, that's not what I meant to pick. Well, you get an error message. It says, are you sure you want that? It'll let me do it, but it's going to give me a message to say you probably don't want to do that. And that's the whole idea. It's just so fast and easy now to build these things. I need a datum. In this case, yeah, I want to hang this off the witness line to get the center of the bore there. It automatically goes to the next letter, pick the surfaces, and that looks about right. So hopefully you're getting the message. It's really pretty easy. A basic understanding of GD&T. Really just don't do as much grunt work of trying to get the letters, the comments, the different symbols. You just pick your dimension in this case. How do you want it to look? How many decimal places? And again, you can change those. I'm working off of the Creo things. Maybe you need something before. Well, now I have a box for that. Say, okay, I need 4 times for these hole callouts. All right, so let's put a GTOL on that. Something like that. Probably going to do a position here. So let's set that value. That looks good. Going to have reference to the B datum also. And even here, next to the datums, I can say, oh, let's put a symbol there. I need a material condition. Goes in right there. So just a whole lot faster. Same thing as we did with the dimension. Now with the GTOL, maybe I need to put in some extra text. Well, I have a tab for that. Above, below, left, right, centered, different font, whatever you need. Now I got my 4 surfaces. I'll do the same thing here. I'll associate those surfaces to this datum. And that's what we're related to. Perfect. Okay, let's do one more view on this part. And I mentioned, if you've got existing ones, no problem. You just go drag them down. Say, yep, going to put it over there. It always copies the last one you created. So if you're making multiples, it's really fast there. You need to change it, just go in, delete. I don't need that on this call out, no problem. And you see that immediate preview. As soon as you type it, it shows it there, and that's really what you want. Let's do one more, maybe a created, a driven dimension. So if I want to, maybe I need a reference call out of the overall length of this part. Well, just pick a couple of surfaces, just like that. I need 2 decimal places. Notice here again in Creo 4, I can do things like I want to do max or center or min. And in this case, it's going to be a ref. Let's just put that text in. So faster, easier, hopefully easier to understand. It's going to make you do it. Or help you do it faster, and that's really what you want. Okay, so that's all good. I mentioned now if this was finished, you can always put it out. We're going to put it out in the new 242 step format and include those annotations as part of that step file. So you say, okay, so now it's built a step file that you could send out to a supplier and so forth. So depending on your needs there. All right, let's do this. Let me grab another part real quick. So here's more of a sheet metal bracket also on our robot, but let's do GD&T Advisor. So you can see I just say Applications, GD&T Advisor, and basically gives me a dashboard to kind of walk me through this process. So I'll start with a tolerance feature. I just say I need one. I pick a surface. So in this case, I picked a flat surface. Well, what am I probably doing? Well, look here. It really says your only 2 options are flatness and profile of a surface, and this being the first one, you probably want flatness. So you get a little asterisk there saying this is probably what we recommend. So it kind of holds your hand, walks you through it. And then it says, okay, well, obviously you've got to have a value. And then you need a datum feature. Done. So the whole idea is it built it the same as the previously building. It just does it all in one shot. And it does some nice hand holding. Once it's there, it's an annotation. Let's do a second one, maybe on this hole. So there's the dimension. So let's put the tolerances in. That looks good. Notice it's called out perpendicularity. That's about the only thing it probably is, unless it's maybe an angular hole. So let's give it a value. Give it a material condition. Looks good. Let's turn that into a B datum. Boom, there it is. So now, clean it up, get it viewed the way you want, make any extra changes. So like here, the same thing. If I want to add text to this, maybe at the bottom, I want to say 8 holes. I'll use all of that new MBD stuff to go ahead and do that. So let's say, okay, now we're going to move down to this hole. So let's put a tolerance. And I'm just accepting these values. Obviously, you can change those. Here we're going to do a positional tolerance. Give it a value. Material condition. Notice you can do composite GTOLs. So we're also going to say we want a parallelism. referencing A, creating new datum C. There you go. So those big, hairy, messy GTALs that look so complicated, not necessarily. Let's do it easier. And again, it's walking you through. It's trying to help you do the right thing and not do the wrong thing. So it's really what you want. Let's do the whole on the other side. Let me forget the tolerances. That looks good. Okay, and then let's do one more. Let's do this whole pattern. Notice when I pick on that hole, it sees the fact that, oh, this is a pattern. You probably want a pattern call out. It's like, why, yes, I do. So let's put in some values. Go ahead and create that. And let me move this over, get it where I can see it. Okay, that. All right, so now I've got that, same sort of thing. Once you've already got it, go ahead and put in text. This is going to be, 2 places. Okay, so that's the basic process. Let it just walk you along. But now, look what it's doing on the side here. I have an error, 0 tolerance not allowed. Whoops, I forgot one. Okay, well, that's pretty good information, right? You probably need to put a tolerance there if you're going to do a GTAL. I can click on it right here in the error message. It takes me right into the same menu. So that's the idea. I can change it right out there. I can change it right here. Now my error message goes away. Everything is getting straight. Right? And that's what you want. You need a little help here to do this. Notice this button, show and hide constraints. The idea is, well, what have I done? Well, now it's going to kind of color code everything, saying, okay, this surface is fully constrained. The gray, nope, unconstrained. So I really see where these are. And it even has intelligence, like notice this last one, constrained by note. So if I put a note on the model, say, okay, general profile, unless I tell you otherwise, it's got, 002, fine. So now, once I put that note here, notice there in my legend, everything turns blue because those are defined by note. Now, it's still, you need to be a tolerance person to some level. Is this appropriate? Should these sides be called out by themselves? That's kind of up to you. But the idea is, boy, let's just make it fast and easy. And plus, of course, when you're done, it's just annotations. So if I need to, this one's on the wrong plane, let me, oops, got it upside down, so I'll just say right mouse, current orientation, flip it, turn it 180 degrees, and now I've got it right there. So it's not like you built inside a GD&T Advisor. It doesn't build separate things. It builds Creo annotation. It just makes it faster and easy. And that's really the goal. We want to get you done as quick as we can. So whatever changes you need to make and so forth, make it easy there. All right, so that's basically what I had for you. So let's go ahead and open up the polls. And if anybody has any questions they would like to ask, again, you have a question queue at the bottom. Go ahead and type them in there. I am not GD&T Guru Central here, but if I can help you answer it, I will. And if I can may have to go get an answer, be happy to do that later. But hopefully this makes some sense. All right, so we'll give it a second. Let's get some questions up. Let me go, oops. Let me go back there. I'll have that slide up here. So remember, you've got a TLO, time limited offer here with TriStar.
All right, thank you, Lee. Thanks for a great presentation. It was very informative. So like Lee mentioned, if you could please type in your questions in the Q&A area or in the chat session, and then we'll be glad to help. And while we are waiting for the questions, again, just a quick, just a reminder about the TLO that TriStar is running through the end of March on the 25% off on the GD&T Advisor extension that Lee had demonstrated earlier, including the general enhancements that he talked about All right, so let's just give it a few minutes or a few seconds here, and then we'll see if we have any questions.
Let's see, we did have one question about training. So this module actually has a tutorial built into the help file. So you can kind of walk you through the basics, workflow, and so forth. So again, that's inside of the Creo 4.0 help. So that'd be a good do. We're actually working on some training, more classroom training that obviously would include a little bit more of GD&T itself. So hopefully we'll have something to report there for too long. But good question. So it's pretty much one, if you understand GD&T, it's pretty easy to walk through, but there are some good help pages that can get you started. And another question, yes, this is an extension. So as pretty much with PTC formats, if we say extension, that's something that runs on top of a seat of Creo. Just an add-on. It's a module you can purchase and then be able to use it there. Once you're done with it, those are annotations. So again, like you saw me do there, I can go in and modify them and change them whatever using just normal Creo. But it is an extension that goes on top of Creo itself, Creo Parametric. So good questions. All right, well, that looks like it may be it. So I guess we'll go ahead and wrap it up.
All right.
Oh, wait, one more, wait, no, we got one more here.
Okay.
Here it is. Okay, good question, Corey. Yeah, very, very topical for a lot of people who are just getting started in this. The question being is, we still mostly do 2D. We mostly have shop drawings, you know, going out to the shop or to the customer and so forth. So do you think this is beneficial? So the answer is yes, from the standpoint of, you know, GD&T works just dandy on a drawing. It's still a, you know, and that's where it came from. It's very applicable there. And a lot of what we've been trying to do is not ignore that. So if you put this GD&T information on it, that's now an annotation that you can show in the drawing in standard Creo parametric detailing. It's not a one button that some people would like. We have tried to do that, but there's just so many ways you can make a drawing that it's hard to predict. But the answer is yes, you can show these annotations directly on the drawing. You know, you built them in 3D, and then you can show them. But this is a way to do that. You don't lose it. It's not like you have to go recreate it because you're doing a 2D drawing. Absolutely, we focused a lot today on the 3D world, but no, you can build it there, and it still can be very useful. GD&T itself is very useful in the 2D world. It just takes a lot of work, and that's what we're trying to make it fast and easy. Build it in 3D, get it to the appropriate view on your drawing, and then just show that annotation. So yeah, and yeah, Corey, you're not remotely alone there with calling yourself a traditional shop, regardless of what you make. That's the way most people are. This is kind of brave new world stuff, but it's with a reason. You know, the DoD, all the aerospace companies are really pushing for this. They want everything to be fine in that 3D model, but nobody's saying 2D is going away, and so we're trying to make that easier and easier to be able to make that transition. All right, so great questions, Corey. Thank you. All right, I think that may be it.
All right, thank you, Lee. Thanks everyone for attending the webinar. And we look forward to seeing you all soon in another webinar. You all have a great rest of the day. Thank you.
Take care.